Welcome to this JMC webinar for the 25-26 school year. It's called Mastering Attendance. My name is Paul Freed. I've been a trainer at JMC for over 20 years, live on a small farm in southeastern Minnesota. Got some goats and llamas, and I sell kombucha. I'm joined by the one and only wonderful trainer, Greg Appleby. Greg?
Hi, Paul. I'm Greg Appleby. I'm a client service specialist with JMC in North Central Nebraska. I've been with JMC for a couple years as a client service specialist. Prior to that, I was an educator in Nebraska for 34 years, the last 22 as a principal, and we use JMC in my schools for the last 8 years. So really happy to join you here today, Paul.
Thanks, Greg. I appreciate that. Whether your school takes attendance 2 or 9 times a day, JMC's period attendance module can make monitoring absences a breeze, helping you quickly identify and offer support to students who need it. Let's explore the ins and outs of using JMC's period attendance module to track absences, tardies, and reasons for absences on a period-by-period basis, and then easily turn that data into a detailed report for families. Plus, we'll do a little show and tell on time-saving automatic attendance notifications. First, let's talk about setting up period attendance. I'm going to talk about entering reasons first. Recognizing that a student absences can have different reasons and implications, it is important to handle them accordingly. In JMC Office, you have the ability to add or modify reasons for the student absences, such as illness or field trip, and decide whether they should be considered as part of a conversation that affects the student's attendance record. You can review the predefined reasons, make necessary edits, and expand the list with reasons specific to your school, allowing you to create a customized and comprehensive list of common absences. Now let's add or edit absent reasons to fit your school. Log into JMC Office and click Period Attendance, Data, Edit Reasons, and Cutoffs. Now, anytime I train a new school, Greg, I tell folks, somebody has to own this page, this Period Attendance, Data, Edit Reasons, and Cutoffs. Not everybody needs to understand it. It's not a hard page to understand, but somebody needs to say, for my school, the high school or the elementary, whatever it is, I understand what's happening on this page to make sure you're calculating attendance correctly. Step 1, click the edit link next to an empty row to add an attendance reason, or click the edit link next to a predefined row to edit an existing reason. Helpful tip, we suggest using unknown right at the top here as a reason name for number 0 in order to account for absences that have not yet been determined. The reason that is when teachers send absences and tardies to the office, it comes in as a 0. They don't know where they are, so we want that default to be as unknown, so you want to keep that as unknown. Step 2, place a check mark in the Include in Conversion checkbox to count selected absences toward the student's half-day and full-day absence calculation. Helpful tip, remove the check mark from the Include in Conversion checkbox to define reasons such as field trips, extracurricular activities, or other school events that should not count against the student's attendance record. That's another way of saying it is if there's a checkbox there, if it's checked, it counts against the student. If it's not checked, it doesn't count against the student. That's why we have field trips and extracurricular activities. They would be unchecked. Sports trip here, field trip, and so on and so forth are not checked because they don't count against the student. But you still want to mark them absent. Step 3, enter the name of the absence in the reason field to describe the absence. Step 4, click the update link to save your changes to the attendance reasons, or click the cancel link to discard your changes. Step 5, you can print these if you want to. I don't know why you want to print them, but you sure could print them if you want to give it to your staff to review. Helpful tip, you can click the retroactive button to apply changes made to your cutoff numbers and or reasons to prior attendance records from the start of the current school year. Why do we have this in there? Sometimes schools will make mistakes on this screen and they won't recognize it until maybe 3 or 4 months into school. And what this allows them to do is to say, edit them the way you want to be, and then go in and retroactively change them. So it's a really handy tool. So maybe you were counting field trips against your students accidentally. And then we can't count field trips. You go in, you uncheck that and retroactive that. You do have to call JMC for a password to run that because we want to make sure people are not running it willy-nilly. So before we go into entering cutoffs here, I'm going to do this part, and then Greg, you can take us to the next part here. I'm going under period attendance, data, to edit reasons and cutoffs. Period attendance, data, edit reasons, and cutoffs. Now we're just going to work on the left-hand side of the screen. So just ignore this right side first. I'm actually going to make it a little bit bigger just to see there. You'll see I've got a whole bunch of different items in here. Now the first thing to note is different states might have different information on here. So this is an Iowa database, so I've got this exempt from truancy. If you're a Nebraska school or Minnesota or Wisconsin, you're not going to have that. So don't worry about that. And I'm not worried about that for this particular training. For these extra items here, you're going to refer to those at your state reporting training. In a nutshell, you can come in here. Let's go down to the bottom here. and you can edit any item that you want. And I can put this in here as hunting. And hunting, you're in Northeast Nebraska. Is hunting considered against us? Does it count against a student or not, Mr. Greg Appleby, in your school in Nebraska?
That would most likely count against them in their
agree.
attendance.
Yep, so it counts against them for that particular thing. So I'd update that, meaning a student can be marked absent with reason of 31 for hunting. But if we go up here, the college fair, for example, right? That college fair, hold on there, doesn't count against a student. If a student is attending the college fair at your school, they might be marked absent from class, but it doesn't count against them. So you can edit these to be whatever you want. I typically, when I'm guiding a school, say 0 should be unknown. Then we do sick, doctor, dentist, and some other ones, whatever the most common are at the top. The one rule of thumb I have here, Greg, is that once they're set for the year, I would not, you shouldn't change them, right? You can't change slept in to college visit in December, or that will change it for the student. So I say after the school year started, if you want to add one in, add it to the bottom of the list. If not, keep them the way they are. But again, you can go ahead and add them to the bottom of the list as people can become very creative with the reasons that students are absent. So again, edit an item here. We're only worried about the including conversion. That means include in the attendance conversion, converting absences and tardies to full day and half day attendance absences. Greg, anything you want to add about that, or should we go on to the next item?
No, I think within your school, then you can determine how specific that you want to get with that. And that's kind of a school by school decisions. And I've seen both. I've seen that have a ton of reasons. And then I've seen some that list it to 8 or 9 general reasons or 7, because you can always get more specific on when you enter a student's attendance as to why that kid was gone that day.
Yeah, you can always add a comment if you want to as well. So it's meant to make it easy for you. All right, great. Why don't you tell us about entering the cutoffs here? And this is probably the part that I think is maybe, I'll say it's the most challenging. It's not very challenging, but it's the most challenging. So once you got this part figured out, the rest is a breeze.
JMC's period attendance module automatically calculates whether a student is absent for a full or half day based on their period absences. You also have the flexibility to set custom period thresholds for each grade level, defining how many missed periods count as a half or full day. This approach helps align attendance tracking with your school's specific policies for accurate and consistent record keeping. Let's enter those conversion cutoffs by logging into JMC Office and navigating to period attendance, data, edit reasons, and cutoffs. Step 1. This is that right side of the window Paul was talking about earlier. Click the edit link next to a grade level row to edit the number of periods to be considered absent for half or full day for the selected grade level. Step 2. Enter the number of periods in the half-day field to set the threshold for period absences that should be counted as a half day. For middle and high schools that typically have 7 periods a day, entering 3 would set the half-day cutoff. Elementary schools, on the other hand, usually take attendance twice a day, so entering 1 would be appropriate for the half-day cutoff. Step 3. Enter the number of periods in the full day field to set the threshold for period absences that should be counted as a full day. For middle and high schools that typically have 7 periods a day, entering 6 would set the full day cutoff. Elementary schools, on the other hand, usually take attendance twice a day, so entering 2 would be appropriate for the full day cutoff. Step 4. Click the update link to save your half day and full day cutoff conversion numbers, or click the cancel link to discard modifications. Step 5. Click the print button to print a list of your period attendance reasons and attendance conversion cutoffs for future reference. Helpful tip: click the retroactive button. Apply changes made to your cutoff numbers to prior attendance records from the start of the current school year.
And we talked about that already, why you would do that, Sue. That was in the previous section. In case you made a change in mid-year, you can retroactively change it. So let's take a live look at setting up period attendance. So again, like I said, this is the most challenging thing, and it's not super challenging, it's just as challenging. Now, again, we're not worried about this part at the bottom. This is specific to the state of Iowa. We're only concerned about this part here. This is going to be covered in your state reporting training. So we tell you what to do. Number of periods to be considered absent for a half day or full day. So the elementaries that only take attendance twice a day. And that can be that the teachers only take attendance in the morning and then the office does the afternoon attendance. That's very easy. If you've got a 2-period day set up, if they miss 1 period, they're gone a half day, 2 periods, they're gone a full day. Just set it up that way. That's the easiest way to do it. I don't like it, Greg, when people just set up a 1-period day, because I think that, for printing report cards and just tracking students' attendance, at least you should get to the granularity of a half day. Some elementaries want to go to a quarter of a day. If you wanted to go to a quarter of a day, where you were taking attendance 4 times a day, you could put a 2 and a 4 there. But again, you decide what you want that to be. And if you need help from a JMC trainer, we can do that. But really, it's for your administrative team to say, all right, let's set this up. Are we doing a 2-period day in the elementary? Again, most common, I'd say 95% of elementary schools, the teachers take attendance period 1 in the morning, and then the office takes care of everything after that. Where it gets a little more, I don't want to say tricky, but just more involved is in the middle school and high school here. So let's say, let's actually edit this. Let's say that our 3rd grade is also taking, we're going up to 5th grade here, 1 and 2, and we're going to click here, 1 and 2 as well. Okay. Oops, there we go. So now what we do, let's actually take our 5th graders here. And we've got an 8-period day. That's what we've got set up here. And it can be whatever you want. And here's how I would think through it. If you want to watch this with your administrative team, they can walk through as well. But here's how I set this up. And I'd say, okay, if a kid, I'm gonna track this with you, Greg Appleby. You've got an 8-period day. You ready, Greg Appleby?
Yes.
Okay. This is how I walk through it. If a kid misses 1 period, are they gone a half day, Greg?
If they miss 1 period, are they gone a half day? No.
If they miss 2 periods, are they gone a half day?
On an 8-period day, probably no.
3 periods?
Probably yes.
Okay, so you would say 3. So if a kid misses,
I would say,
yep, that's fine. And it's whatever you want. It's going to be 3 or 4 most likely on an 8-period day, right? Whatever they want there. Now, here's where then I keep walking that through. If a kid misses 4 periods, are they gone a full day?
a full day, no.
If they miss 5 periods, are they gone a full day?
No.
6?
Now I'm into that space where it's either 6 or 7 or the numbers. I believe my school, we said if you were gone 6 periods, you were basically gone a full day.
Okay. So you can put 6 periods there, and that would be Greg Appleby. Now, if I was another school, I might say, well, if they miss 4 periods, they're gone a half day. And then what happens up here is if it's an 8-period day, sometimes people will say, oh, it's 8. I'll say, okay, that's fine. But that means if a kid misses 7 periods and they only come 1 period, that's considered a half day. And then they're not gone all day, so they can still participate in sports. Oh, yeah, that doesn't necessarily make sense. So that's why we typically will put 1 period or 2 periods under the total threshold there. But again, your handbook is probably going to have some guidance on this. It doesn't need to be complicated. Like I said, just walk through like what I said is if they're gone 1 period is a half day. No. 2 periods a half day. No. 3 periods a half day. Yep, that's 3 periods. Or 4 periods a half day. Yep, 4. 5 periods at a half or a full. That's a half day. 6 periods is at a half or full. That's a half day. 7 periods at a half or full. We're going to consider that gone a full day. It does make me again a little, and I don't work for your school, but if it's an 8-period day and people put 4 and 8 here, it does make me kind of uncomfortable that a kid can come to 1 period and be there, considered there a half day. But talk to your administrative team. If you need to talk to us, you're good to go. But that's why I said somebody should own this screen. What's our half day and full day cutoffs, right? We're converting these number of periods to a half day or full day. That goes to a lot of states for state reporting, and it goes on student report cards. And then for here, what's the reason students can be gone? Is it included in the conversion? Meaning, does it count against them, or is it not included in the conversion? So really easy to do there as well. All right, let's keep on rolling. Entering attendance in JMC Teacher. Go ahead, Greg, you take this part here.
Sure. The classroom attendance page in JMC Teacher streamlines the attendance process by giving teachers a clear, full class view for quick and accurate entry. Optional student photos make it easier than ever to identify and verify students. This feature not only saves time, but also reduces errors, helping maintain accurate records that keep families and school staff on the same page. And with real-time updates, office staff can instantly access attendance data for timely follow-ups and stronger student support.
Great.
Going to select the day in class to enter classroom attendance and send it to the office. Head to Classroom Attendance, enter attendance in JMC Teacher. Step 1, select a date from the day drop-down list to begin entering attendance. Step 2, select a class from the courses drop-down list to access the class roster for a specific course. Fun fact, courses and rosters may change from one day to the next based on the master schedule created in JMC office. So teachers always have the most accurate roster at their fingertips. Step 3. If your school utilizes the student tag feature, select a tag using the tag drop-down list to filter your class list by a defined tag set up in JMC office. Step 4, optional, select a specific day from the days in cycle drop-down list to narrow the courses available in attendance if your school utilizes a block schedule with A and B days.
So I want to address these right now before we get to the actual live look here. Tags aren't used very much anymore. They were originally put in during COVID when you had classes were split. You'd have an A day and you'd have a B day. So you'd have one class called, 10th grade chemistry, and it'd have all the kids listed. But then if I chose A kids, it would only show the A kids, and B kids, it would show the B kids. So there are other uses for it. Some people have started using it for lunches. So they'll have a fifth period for lunch, or fourth, or whatever you want to use. Let's say it's fifth period. And maybe they'll have 2 different lunches or 3 different lunches. So they'll have A lunch, B lunch, and C lunch. And that way they can actually see which kids should be in front of them based on what their lunch is as well. So tags, again, you don't need to use them if you don't want to, but if you're looking for ways to sort kids, or separate might be a better word, within a specific class, then you can use tags. The days in cycle actually is a really handy feature you want to pass on to your teachers. And what this means is that it'll default to all days, but you can choose Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or specifically if you do block scheduling, A day and B day. So it's a Monday, right? It's a regular day, but if you then do days in cycle, you choose day A because you do block scheduling, it'll show only those A courses and B as well. So that's a really handy tool if courses don't meet every day.
There are more attendance filters. Step 5, you can select the current term from the term drop-down list to filter courses and rosters available for a specific term. Helpful tip, do you appear to be missing courses or students? Check the days in cycle, term, and tag drop-down list to apply the correct filters for attendance. Fun fact, a student roster for the selected course will appear displaying student names and photos along with a blue I info button or an orange exclamation point alert button for new comments.
That's right.
All right, entering absences and tardies. Step 6, choose the appropriate attendance radio button from the attendance column to mark a student's absence or tardy. PRES, student is present. Absent E, student is absent excused. Absent U, student is absent unexcused. Tardy E, student is tardy excused. Tardy U, student is tardy unexcused.
Big question that comes up here, Greg, is do I have to mark kids present? And the answer is no. They're automatically marked present to start the day. So you only have to mark kids absent or tardy. If everybody's present for the day, and we'll get to submit, you can click attendance is correct. Go ahead there, Greg.
And with that, your office may set that up where you're only allowed to choose the unexcused ones rather than the excused. But that's an office preference that each school may have different.
Yep, and I'll show that in the live look in the future here.
Helpful tip. If a family notifies the office of a student's absence or tardy, the corresponding attendance, radio button, and reason will be pre-filled, saving time and keeping records accurate without re-entering information.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons you don't want your teachers taking attendance on paper. This way, it just saves you and your school time overall.
Enter a reason and submit it to the office. Step 7, optional. Select the appropriate reason from the reason drop-down list if you know the reason the student is absent to keep the office in the know. Fun fact, most schools choose to disable this option for teachers, allowing the office to record absence reasons to maintain consistency and avoid confusion. Step 8, click the attendance is correct button to record your attendance entries and submit them to the office for processing. Helpful tip, head to the general box on the file preferences page and place a check mark in the show student photos checkbox to display student photos, if available, on the classroom attendance page.
That's right. So let's take a live look at entering attendance in JMC Teacher. We'll make this really quick. It's just really letting you know what do teachers do. Here's the JMC Teacher home. I'm going to go under classroom attendance to enter attendance. And it's really easy. All the students are marked present. You can mark them absent excused, absent unexcused, tardy excused, tardy unexcused. Most schools don't let teachers enter in reasons. Some elementary schools do, so you can decide if they want to put the reason here, doctor, dentist, or this one's I've got in here for sick, whatever it might be. When you're done, you simply click attendance is correct. That sends it to the office. Teachers, it'll forward you to the next day, which is really nice. You can go back to the previous day, or previous period, not day, excuse me, previous period. Teachers can edit attendance until the office adds a reason, just so you know. So this will say this is absent unexcused. And I can come back and change this to something else. But once the office adds a reason, because the office is the final say, once they add a reason, then the teacher can no longer change it. And that works out really well there as well. You can choose the days in a cycle. I've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So if on Wednesday is a different day, I can choose Wednesday and it would only show the kids or only show the courses that are listed there on Wednesday. Here's my term and here is my tag there as well. The last thing I want to tell you is that the pictures do show up. I don't know if I've got any pictures here for students. I don't have any pictures here for students, but I can go under File, Preferences, and I can go down here, which says Show Student Photos. That will show student photos in attendance and also in the seating charts there as well. So, Greg, anything you want to add about classroom attendance?
No, the student photo thing is really nice. If you have a substitute that's coming in and doing attendance, I just think that's neat for the substitute teachers to see a face with the name.
Absolutely. My closing points are you can edit lunch count here. The lunch count we put in as well when taking attendance. And also there's lots of reports, or a few reports teachers can run. So you don't need to run them. How many times has a student been absent from your class? How many students have been absent for a period? And for today, this is helpful. Maybe you're our coach or advisor. Who's gone from my school today? I want to check and see. Here, this will show just my students, or I can check all students. I don't know if there'll be any more. Nope. It's just my students here today. And you can see that the kids are gone in case you're saying a roster or something like that for an after-school activity. So really easy to do there. Okay. Now we get to entering or editing attendance in JMC Office. Tracking student attendance is a key task for office professionals, and JMC Office makes it easy with the period attendance module. Mark students as absent or tardy, provide a reason for the absence, and even add comments to keep everyone informed of the important attendance details. Streamline attendance taking further by processing JMC teacher and attendance hotline submissions, all from this convenient hub. Here we go. To enter or edit attendance, begin in JMC Office and proceed to period attendance, data, edit attendance. That's again, period attendance, data, edit attendance. Step 1, choose the day radio button. There's lots of different options here, but we recommend choosing the day radio button to mark a student absent for a specific day, or the student radio button to mark the days a particular student is absent or tardy. Helpful tip, need to mark an entire group of students absent or tardy? Choose the by grade, which means you can mark an whole grade level absent at one time. By activity, mark a whole activity that's entered in JMC Office absent. By course, which is a course, and multiple radio buttons to select all students in a specified group. We'll talk about the multiple ones. It's a great feature when we get to the live look. Step 2, optional, select a tag using the tag drop-down list to narrow the range. You're probably not going to do that when it comes to doing attendance, especially now since we're out of the pandemic, but it can be done. Step 3, select a student and a date from the appropriate list and click the add button to create an absence record for the selected student. Now, if you choose day, it defaults to today. That's why we like to choose day. So you don't actually have to switch anything when it chooses day. You will have to choose the student's name and click add. You're adding them to the absent tardy students box. Fun fact, if a teacher has marked a student as absent or tardy from JMC Teacher, the student's name or date will automatically appear in the absent tardy students or days box to seamlessly communicate the absences from their classrooms. Step 4, select the appropriate absence or tardy option under the all day or periods or column to all day or periods column to mark the student absent or tardy for the time frame. We talked about this already. PRES is present, ABSE is excused absent, ABSU unexcused absence, TDYE excused tardy, TDYU unexcused tardy. Step 5, select a reason for the absence or tardy using the reasons drop-down list to indicate why the absence of or tardy occurred. And that's why it's important to do that, because then teachers can't go in and change why a student is absent or tardy. Step 7, refresh your page to view new absences or tardies submitted by the teacher or families through the attendance hotline. Now, this is important. The reason we have you refresh every once in a while is because if you keep this tab open all day, which we'll talk about in a minute, there's not a refresh, right? Web pages don't refresh themselves on their own. You want to click that refresh button. Fun fact, no need to look for a save button. Period attendance will auto-save for you, so you're never going to lose an absence. Let's take a live look at entering attendance in JMC office. So we'll come here, and I'm going to go to, this is right here, under period attendance, data, edit attendance. Period attendance, data, edit attendance. Choose the day. And this is how I train people. So I'm just going to tell you, Greg, how I train people, okay? Choose the date. Now, these kids have been put in there already. So choose the, let's actually go to a day that we don't have anybody. Actually, I'm going to go to next year because it'll go to, no, let's just see if we can find a day that there's nobody. There we go. So most likely it'll come in, especially the first day, and there's nobody absent. So what I do is I say, choose the day. It'll default to today. I'm just going back to a previous day. Who's absent? Add them to the list. When are they absent? All day. He's going to be absent, excuse, all day. Why are they absent? He's sick. And done. Who's absent? Add them to the list. When are they absent? He's going to the dentist the last 3 periods. Absent, excuse, period 7, 8, 9. Why are they absent? He is at the doctor or the dentist. And then it auto saves. So you don't even have to do anything to be able to mark that as well. So and I'm going to find another student here. We'll just type in McElmurray, M-C-E-L. It's John McElmurray. So who's absent? Add them to the list. When are they gone? Periods 4, 5, 6. He's going to be on a family issue. Something's happening with the family. It changes all 3 of them at the same time. You can go in and change those if you want to later. That's the basic attendance. Now I'm going to show you just some other tips to run the program efficiently. The first thing is, like we talked about before, choosing the students. It's really handy to choose like the grade level. A lot of times schools don't mark students gone if a whole class goes on a field trip. I think if the students are not in school, Greg, they should be marked absent. So what you do is you come here and you go to, let's say grade 3 is going to the zoo. From grade 3 to grade 3, and they're going to the zoo on Monday, 5/26. I add them to the list. Oops, I got to choose my grade 3. Sorry about that. From grade 3, you got to choose the day first. From grade 3 to grade 3, Monday, 5/26. They're absent all day, or I could do different periods. We'll do absent all day, and they're going to a. Let's see here.
Field trip's 3, I think.
Did I miss? Oh yeah, sorry. Field trip, and they're going to the zoo. So this is the second thing. You can add comments in for all day or by period that you can refer to later there as well. And now every 3rd grader has been marked absent at the zoo. I could go back to an individual 3rd grader if they didn't go to the zoo and mark them sick or whatever it might be, but they've all been marked absent at the zoo. Why does this work? I'll tell you why this works. When I go back to my other page, which is, I'm going to show you again, period attendance, data, edit, reasons, and cutoffs. When I look at field trip, Greg, just so you can see it here, that is not checked, right? Meaning they can be marked absent, but it doesn't count against them. So that by grade level, very helpful. You can do by activity. If the baseball team is leaving periods, on whatever day it is here on Monday again, everybody's gone on Monday. They're gone period 8 and 9 because they're on an extracurricular activity. Then you can do that. Very easy to do. I like the course
Paul,
one too.
you just did that baseball team in about 10 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Rather than the secretary picking all 24 baseball players, going in and finding them and listing them as 2 periods. What you did in 10 seconds would have taken her, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 valuable minutes.
Especially with interruptions, right? Because everybody gets interrupted. You don't get into a flow. The course one's straightforward. You can choose a course that students are gone. Just come in, you can type in if chemistry is going on a field trip. You can find that chemistry 55, semester 1, period 6. That's pretty straightforward. I love the multiple option though. Multiple option is really great because sometimes you might have like a golf team where the 3 of the kids are going to state, not the whole golf team, and they're going on a particular day. This allows you, we call it multiple. You can choose multiple students for one day, one student, multiple days, or multiple students for multiple days. So if we know that the golf team is going for 3 days or for 2 days, and there's 3 kids, I can choose this kid. And you have to hold down your command key, or if you're a command key if you're a Mac user, control key if you are a Windows user. And Kelly. And so I got Kelly, I got Jessica, and I got John. And they're going to be gone on Thursday, the 22nd, and Friday, the 23rd, all day. And they are going on a extracurricular activity. And they are at the state golf tournament. State golf tourney. Same thing you said before. You're not going to one kid and choosing one day and then the next day. And then you got, I just did 3 kids, right? All listed right here. There's another one. All 3 kids listed for those 2 days, and you're good to go. So it's a really, really handy tool there as well.
Another great example for that, Paul, is a family of 5.
Yes.
They're going on vacation. They're going to be gone Thursday, Friday of this week, and Monday of Tuesday of next week. You pick those 5 students across different grade levels in the same family and put them all in, and boom, it's done.
One. That last week of school, that same family takes them off. Oops, hold on. There, Monday through Thursday, I'm using my shift. I'm clicking the first one, holding down my shift key, doing the 4th one here. So once I've marked them, I can mark them absent all for all those days for a family vacation. Super easy to do. Last thing, use those comments again. People, I wouldn't write comments for every single thing, but if you want to note a time that some student came or they left, people also use it sometimes in divorce situations where the kids live with mom sometimes and dad some other times, and one parent is having trouble getting them into school on time, so that they can write down the parent that dropped them off. So it's a really handy tool to be able to do attendance. But again, I just want to go back to the main thing here, which is you come in, you choose the day, it defaults to today. Take a student, add them to the list. When are they gone? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Why are they gone? They are at a doctor appointment. You can even put some notes in there if I want to, and that's it. Who's gone? Add them to the list. When are they gone? Why are they gone? No need to hit save. So anything else, Greg, or does that kind of wrap it up for that one?
No, I think you hit it pretty good, Paul.
Before we get into the period attendance reports, I want to show you one other screen here. It's in the JMC Office program under File to Online Settings. File to Online Settings. This is where you set the online settings like access for the parent and family portal, the student portal, course registration. We're going to go to the teacher one. There's this box up here that at least the person who's in charge of attendance at your school building should understand what's going on. 2 things are going on here. Number 1 is it asks first if you want to take attendance, if you want teachers to take attendance by the student schedule or by advisor. I'd say 98% of schools do it by schedule. The kid has a schedule. They're taking attendance for a course or courses that are on the schedule. Even elementary schools typically will now have courses into JMC because a lot of Department of Educations are collecting the courses students are taking and with the grade they're getting. So they're just taking attendance even in the elementary once a day in their language arts class or whatever it might be. But there are a few schools who take attendance by advisor. And what that means is whoever the advisor is for the student. So on the View Student Data screen, you have an advisor listed for a student. It's the first advisor. They can take attendance. So this is it's rarely done anymore. But if this radio box is chosen, it just means that whoever the student's advisor is will take attendance for that student for the number of periods you have set for the day. So really now it's only done in the elementary situation where they don't have schedules in for a kid. And then that advisor, typically their main grade level teacher, is taking attendance how many ever periods you have set in the day. If you need help with that, just contact tech support. But the vast majority of schools, I'd say at 98%, whatever the kid is scheduled into, they're taking courses for. Even in the elementary school, if they're only taking attendance once or twice a day, they just have 1 or 2 of those courses they're taking attendance for. More importantly, is this allowed absences and allowed tardies checkboxes. What this means is that if you don't want teachers to mark a student, say, for example, excused absent, or you don't want them to be marked, I'm just making this up, excused tardies, you can uncheck those flags and you can save that. And then what happens when the teachers go to take attendance here, I don't think I need to log out, but let me just double check here. Nope, I don't need to. What happens when they go to take attendance? So I'm on the teacher side again. So I'm doing attendance as a teacher. I cannot mark a student absent excused. I'm trying to click, doesn't do anything. Trying to mark a student tardy excused, click, doesn't do anything. I can only mark students absent unexcused or tardy unexcused. So this prevents teachers from marking students, something that you don't want, because most schools say we want the teachers to mark the student absent unexcused. The office puts the excuses in for them. So that's again under File, online settings there. All right, Greg, I'm just going to run through the period attendance reports and then the attendance notification settings quickly, and we'll wrap this one up here. So I'm not going to show you a live look at the reports. Anytime I tell people when you're learning a module, go through each report after you've used the module for 2 weeks to see what those reports do. These ones are very straightforward here. JMC Office offers a wide range of preloaded attendance reports to keep your team informed and in control of attendance management, from daily attendance and tardy reasons to lunch counts and absence summaries. These reports provide valuable insights that support accurate record keeping, effective family communication, and comprehensive student monitoring. All right, the first period attendance report is for a day. For a day generates a comprehensive list of all students who are absent on a specific date. This report provides a snapshot of absences, whether full day or at least one period, within a selected grade range. Easily email, print, or export the report to a CSV file for record keeping or follow up here. One thing I want you to know is, a lot of people use this. They'll print this off after first period and then start calling parents because it has the phone number for students on there. So a lot of people will come in here after first period. This is the one I do want to show you. Period attendance reports for a day. They'll come in and they'll say, I'll take them to today. Just a second. It's taking just a second to load here as my internet's a little bit slow. And then, my internet's running slow. There we go. And what happens is you can either call from here if you want. It's got the phone number. But if you print this, it prints into a really easy to use report here. Let me just save this to a PDF and bring that up here. Okay. And then you can bring out the PDF. I'm not going to show it to you just to keep us moving here, but it has the phone number next to each kid's name. That's their first primary contact phone number. So people will start calling parents and saying, hey, your kid's not here, and write down on this piece of paper why the student is absent. And then if later they want to, they can come in and mark a student absent or tardy. Or you can just, call them and mark it right in the program, which I think is the easiest, but different teams work differently. But this reports for a day allows you to easily see who is absent unexcused with a reason of 0. We don't know where this kid is. I'm going to call the family, right? These kids, we know where they are because they've got reasons. This kid, Tom Grundy, don't know where he is. There should be a phone number there. Of course, this is a demo database. Tom Grundy's absent unexcused period of 0. Call that parent. Mark it down on the piece of paper or just go right into JMC to be able to do that. The other thing to note is that teachers can run this report themselves. Not that they're going to call the parents or guardians to see where a student is, but you don't have to. A lot of schools with other SISs will email this report to all teachers every day. You're just wasting 2 minutes of your time every day. Teachers can look that up on their own. All right, the attendance for a student. Run a detailed attendance or tardy report for one or more students across a specified date range. Sort by student group, sequential, random, grade, or advisor for flexible organization. Customize the report further with filters such as absent reasons, date range, specific periods, or comments. This report gives you a clear, tailored view of each student's attendance history based on your chosen criteria. Want to know how many times a student's been gone over a date range? Run this report. I want to tell you again, teachers can run this report in their JMC teacher portal, so you don't have to run that for them. For a reason, this generates a report of all students who are absent for a specific reason within a selected date range. For example, quickly identify all students absent due to a band trip or other event. This report provides a clear overview of reason-based absences and can be previewed or printed for documentation or follow-up. The most common one that people will do here is they'll run it for a week, from Monday to Friday with the reason of unknown. Who are the kids that were gone and we don't know where they were? That's what this report is going to tell you there. So you can run it for other reasons as well, but that's the most common. Then the absent tardy check. Stay on top of attendance issues by generating a report of students who meet a specific absence or tardy criteria within a selected date range. Identify students based on absences reasons, number of occurrences, excused or unexcused status, and whether absences were period-based or full day. Use this report to spot patterns and take timely action. So this report is handy. You want to run reports to see if you need to assign detention or something like that. It's the period attendance reports, absent tardy check. I just want to tell you one important thing. So put on your listening ears. I'll just say this one time when it comes to running attendance reports. When you run this absent tardy check under the period attendance reports module, it's saying, I want to know all the kids that were absent or tardy. We'll say absent more than or equal to, let's say, 12 periods total, okay, that are unexcused. And I'll preview this and that will show me those students. And you can do it for a period or total. This is for the period. So it's period tense for the periods. Okay. If you want to know the students that were gone full or half days because you're assigning detention or preparing to create letters to send home, that is not this report. This report is run by the number of unexcused period absences. If I want to know full day or half day absences, I go to attendance reports, absentarity check. The attendance reports absentarity check is looking at full day and half day attendance. How do we know if it's a full day or half day attendance? I'm going back to the beginning of this video under period attendance, data, edit reasons and cutoffs. It tells us what the full day and half day attendance is there. So it takes the periods as students been gone, converts them to full and half day attendance. So if you want to run full day and half day attendance reports, you do it under attendance reports down to absentarity check. So the difference between the attendance absentarity check and period attendance absentarity check. Period attendance absentarity check is the number of periods the students have been gone. This is full day and half day. So really handy tool. Just go ahead and run those reports. Play with them for 5 minutes, get comfortable with them, and you'll be good to go. Lunch count, attendance by teacher. View teacher submitted lunch and milk counts alongside daily or period attendance for a specific day. Use this report to verify that all students are accounted for during lunch and that teachers are present as scheduled. Easily print or export the report to a CSV file for analysis or record keeping. So people will use this report for 2 reasons. Number one, to see which student or which teachers have reported attendance. So here's the periods of the day, 1, 2, 3. Here's the teachers. And how many lunch counts have been entered in there as well. If you want to enter the lunch counts or change your lunch counts for a student, I think, I haven't looked at this in a while. It's under File Online Settings, the Teacher tab. Here is the number of lunch counts. So you can put in, if you want to do hot lunch, milk, whatever, I think we have to up to 12 lunch counts now that you can have teachers track. So when teachers go in again, and we talked about this before, classroom attendance, they're taking lunch counts. They can enter those in and send those to the office. You're going to that period attendance reports, lunch count attendance by teacher here to see what people have sent in, and it will total them at the top and tell you what each teacher sent in there. So handy tool. A lot of schools will send a PDF of that to their lunch folks. Some people will give read-only access to their food service professionals, the directors, to log into period attendance and just run that report on their own. Totally up to you. Form letters, powerful tool. We've got a whole video on this. It's just a great thing. You can create custom letters to communicate attendance concerns with families. Use predefined criteria such as the number of unexcused absences or tardies to generate personalized messages. Select specific students, sort letters by primary contact, and choose how to deliver them. Print, email, or both. You can even generate related discipline records all from the same interface. This is really underselling what this feature does. This feature gets rid of you having to run a report and create a letter in Google or Microsoft Word for kids that have 5 absences, 7 absences, 10 absences. You can create the letters with the form designer in JMC for 3 absence, 5 absence, 8 absence, 10, whatever criteria you want. And then you come here and you can print out these letters, and it prints out a great letter with what criteria you want for each student that meets that absence criteria. And the page 2 of it automatically prints the student's attendance. So if you send letters home to families when students reach certain attendance thresholds to let them know of detention or maybe loss of credit, you should be using these form letters. Go to our YouTube channel, watch the attendance form letters videos. It will save you hours and hours and hours and hours of time. All right, I've looked at those already, so we're just gonna keep on rolling to wrap this up, Greg. Automatic attendance notifications. JMC Office simplifies attendance management by automatically notifying families of student absences through phone calls, removing the need for manual lookups and individual outreach. Office can set preferred call times for timely communication, while administrators receive detailed email summaries listing which families were contacted and the status of each notification. So set up automated attendance notifications by logging into JMC Office and going to Message Center Attendance Notification Settings. Step 1, place a check mark in the Enable Attendance Notification checkbox to ensure families receive notification calls regarding attendance. Step 2, enter the desired email address separated by comma or email addresses the daily report will be sent to field to specify the recipients of the daily report containing a list of families receiving attendance notification calls. So what this is setting up is every student who's absent for the day to whatever time you have listed, which we'll talk about in a minute, it will you just turn it on. That's all you gotta do is check this box. And when it calls the families to say, your student's been marked absent, period 1, it will email whatever email or email addresses you have listed there to let them know so that you know who was called. And so that's a handy feature there as well. So it's whoever your person is that would be receiving the phone calls back from families, that's probably the email you put in there. Step 3, select a radio button in the attendance box to identify which type of absences would warrant an automated attendance phone call. You can do excused, unexcused, or both. Most people just do unexcused. We want to let the families know if their kid is not in school and we don't know where they are. When expecting irregular attendance due to events like homecoming or field trips, remove the checkbox from the enable attendance notification checkbox to avoid sending unnecessary attendance alert. This just means you're in charge if you want to send those home or not. And you can turn them off for a day if you want. Step 4, enter a time in the time of day to send calls field, or simply click the clock icon to specify a time you'd like to notification calls to be sent. Helpful tip: to minimize the risk of accidentally sending incorrect alerts, it's recommended to select a time of day that gives the office team ample time to review the attendance records before initiating notification calls. So I have 9 o'clock here. So the idea here is that, school starts at 8, teachers should take attendance by 8:15, second period starts at 8:50. We're going to have those phone calls go out at 9 o'clock. Step 5, enter a message in the additional message field to include any details you would like to share with families in your automated attendance notification code, such as a reminder to follow up with the school office. So what happens is after you click the save button to save your automatic attendance notifications, it will actually call all the students based on this here who are unexcused at 9 o'clock. It will automatically read off a message, something like, please hold for a message from the JMC Message Center. Your student, it'll read off their name, Paul Freed, has been marked absent, period 1. That's all it's going to say. Then whatever additional message you have listed here, it will read off, please contact the school office to excuse your child. That's all there is to it. So the automated call will feature a computerized voice stating the student's name and mentioning their absence in period 1 today, along with any information including in the additional message field. So this is such a great feature. We've actually made a really great update to this feature since I first recorded this video in June of 2025. So here we are in July of 2025. Our programmers made a great update. It's still under the same page. So we're going under Message Center down to Attendance Notification Settings, Message Center to Attendance Notification Settings. You'll see the screen looks a little bit different right away, but don't fret. Simply click the Add New button, enable the attendance notification reports, put an email in there. I'm just putting one in that we use for trainings here. But again, that's the email address that you'll want the person emailed with a list of who was called. You can send out attendance to excused, unexcused, or both. I'm going to do unexcused. I like still keeping the reason of 0, as I talked about previously, for unknown in this video. Because of legislation in the state of Iowa, that might be different for schools. But overall, you can choose which message or which reason or attendance code is used for calling out to the schools. But typically schools are using to say, we don't know where your student's at. So they're choosing the reason that is tied to unknown. We don't know where the student is at. And it's unexcused. You could choose that they skipped or something like that. Totally up to you. Previously in JMC, before we updated this feature, it only sent out to students who are for the reason of 0 unknown. Now you could select that to be something different if you want. Choose the time of day. You got to choose a time in the time picker. So let's say, if, for example, my messages or my attendance due at 8:30, so I'm going to do 9 o'clock. And again, it's going to read off for all the students that have these match these criteria at 9 o'clock. Any student who's unexcused with a 0 unknown, it's going to call and say, hold for a message from the JMC Message Center. Your student, Paul Freed, is absent, period 1. That's all it's going to say. Then you can add an additional message in there, such as, and I had this pre-typed in here, please call the school at 651-345-5555 and leave a message on the attendance hotline telling us why your student is gone, or whatever you want to put in there. And then you click update. So that is all the same as I showed you before, except that now you can choose the attendance code. But here's the really other cool thing. Let's say you want a message to go out at the end of the day for all the families, for students that have been marked absent and you don't know where they are. You can now add a new record in. I'm going to enable this, put in no reply. Maybe this wants to go to a different person. You sure could do that. Unexcused, unknown. I'm going to have this one go out at 3 o'clock p.m. And it's going to call back, again, hold for a message from the JMC Message Center. Your student, Paul Freed, has been marked absent, and it'll read off the period, or marked absent today, something like that. I don't remember the exact verbiage. And says, I'm totally making this up. Do not know the reason for your student's absence today. Please call the dean of students. I don't know, whatever you want to put in there. But this is really cool because now you can have 2 messages go out, and it'll actually sort by time. Then I've got one at 9 o'clock. These kids are absent for the day, and one at 3 o'clock, right, to say catch anybody who else was absent that day. This is the main purpose, and I see 99.9% of schools using it this way. You could get creative. I would think it through. Let's say I wanted to call all the kids who were, I don't know. They just no report for absence or wherever it might be. You could add something kind of interesting there. But I would keep it simple. Totally up to you. But overall, you have to add the record in, add a new record in here. You can add up to 2 at this time. Usually it's to be 1 in the morning, 1 at the end of the day if you want to use 1 at the end of the day. Totally up to you how you want to use that, but great new feature to send multiple messages out to your families all at one time. So I am very excited about that if you can't tell. So that's all for this Mastering Attendance video. I want to thank Greg Appleby for joining me on this video, and thanks for choosing JMC, and good luck with all of your attendance taking.